Hello everyone. So we learned about bird watching. Now we learn about some basic bird identification skills which one has to develop to identify birds, and if you're especially when you're new for bird watching. So let's start with size. Here we're talking about the size of the bird. Okay, and we here, as you can see in the picture, is a house sparrow. Okay, so size of the bird is very important. House sparrow is a small bird, and almost everyone knows house sparrow because it's found throughout India. If you go to the higher Himalayas, you may not find house sparrows, but you'll find tree sparrows, which are almost the same size. So imagine house sparrow, and we'll take the silhouette of a house sparrow. The bird you saw in the field, which you want to identify, if you know the size of the common birds to refer, it will be easier. For example, the bird you saw in the field, was it a smaller than a sparrow or a bigger than a sparrow? Okay, you're getting an idea? So house sparrow, the bird you saw in the field, was it smaller than the sparrow, like the flower pecker, which is much smaller than the sparrow? Or was it Indian robin, which was bigger than the sparrow? So we need to know the size of a bird for identification. So let's start with common birds. How you start identifying birds with the size, how you know what bird is what size. So we'll start with the common ones. House sparrow, common myna. Myna also is a bird which is found throughout India, right? Then everybody knows a pigeon. Okay, you know what size the pigeon are. Then you have crows. The sparrow, myna, pigeon, crow. So these are the common birds. Let's look at some more common birds which are in a different size. After house crow, we can take kites. Black kites are usually found in almost all cities or towns. And if you don't get black kite, and if you don't know the size, we can take the reference of a chicken. You know, the rooster, chicken, the fowl. Many of them are almost size of the kite. And much bigger bird, we can take peacock. So if you know these common birds, and from now on, if you go keep looking and observing these common birds, just to get an idea of the size, it will be easier for the reference for the new birds which you see. This is because many bird books or even the bird guides or friends whom you know about birds, you can tell them the size of the bird, new bird you saw, was it bigger than a crow or smaller than a crow, or bigger than a sparrow or bigger than a pigeon or smaller than the pigeon. With the size of the bird and the shape of the bird, you can do a lot more identification. Shape here talking about the overall shape of the bird. So for example, this bulbul, what is the shape? We can call it, it's like a slim bird or a slender bird. Let's look at the next one. You already know this is a pigeon, right? It's not slim or slender like a bulbul, but it's on slightly fattier or bulky side, right? So like that, this you obviously know it's not a bulbul because of the shape alone. It's more round. These are quails. So we saw slender, fatter, round, and many different species of birds are in different shape. So just looking at the shape, it will help you in identification. How? Let's look at this. When you combine size of the bird and the shape of the bird, and even without even looking at the colors, birds have so many colors markings, right? We'll come to that later, but without going for the colors and markings, with just the size of the body of the bird and the shape of the body of the bird, you can start slowly identifying birds. Okay, these are called silhouettes, bird silhouettes. Bird silhouettes are nothing but the dark shape or the outline of the bird. Okay, look at this. You can't see the color, but you already know that this is a rooster or a chicken. Okay, look at this. Pigeon, duck, parrot or parakeet. Right? Here you're not seeing any color. It's just the shape of the bird. And purposely, I have not put in these silhouettes the size, because size is now also important, right? Because if you know, all these birds are not equally the same size of each other. Chickens are bigger, pigeons are smaller than the chicken, ducks are bigger than the pigeon and could be the size of a chicken. With the size and the shape of the bird, and with the combination of the body parts like this, it helps you in identification of a bird. So here we'll take few of the body parts. Example, beak or a bill, which is very important. Leg or a feet. Okay, the tail of the bird, shape of the head, wings, and the neck. So they have so many body parts, but we'll take just few of the important ones which will help us in identifying birds. Okay, beak, the bill is very important. Okay, the size and shape of the bird we learned with the shape or the size of the bill will help you tell what bird it is, because we see birds and many species of birds have different shaped beak, which will help them, which will tell us what they feed on, where they are found. So they all have different shape of the beak. If you can just look at this illustration, you see so many different shape. So with this, we can try to identify some of the birds. Look at the example here. You see these two pictures, there are two birds. And if you look carefully, okay, at the first glance, the overall color of the bird is the same, right? Gray, both have barrings on the front, correct? They have yellow legs and they have longer tail. Okay, they look like the same bird. But if you look carefully, look at this. One has a curved hooked beak. The other one is pointed straight beak. One is shikara and one is common hawk cuckoo. The curved beak of a shikara is to tear open the flesh of a mammal, bird, insects, whereas the straight beak of a cuckoo is to catch insects or caterpillars, and beat them and swallow them. They don't tear open like shikara. Yeah. So here the beak makes a big difference in identifying what bird it is, because both are almost the same color, and they also have behavior of flying like each other. Both fly in the same pattern. Okay. So we'll just look at some of the examples of different kinds of beaks. Chisel shape. Chisel, hammer and the chisel. So chisel shape, especially woodpeckers have this chisel shape to drill holes. Okay. The bigger woodpecker, the bigger the beak. They make bigger holes and look for bigger insect. The smaller woodpeckers have small beak to look for smaller insects and look in the gaps of the tree cracks, etc. Then you have conical shape or cone shape. Okay, like the finch here, you can see the sparrow, house sparrow, and even the quail. They all have a conical shape. Here, it helps them to feed on the seed of grasses and other grains, right? They help them to crack open and to feed on seeds. Then you have hook shape. Some of them will have smaller hook shape or very big hook shape, mainly eagles or what we call birds of prey, to tear open the flesh. Also, apart from eagles, hawks, or the birds of prey, we call them, there's another family of birds which commonly seen has a hooked shape. Yes, that is parakeets or parrots. Even they have a hook shape for them to go through the flesh of a fruit to get to the seeds. They like seeds, or to peel the bark of the tree. They eat some parts of the bark of the tree, or to make holes in the trees. Then you have spear shape. Okay, for jabbing, it could be different size um, to catch fish, depending on the birds, insects. So you have a spear shape to just grab their prey. And you have the plucker or a tweezer shape, okay, to catch small insects and from the ground or while flying. Okay, so these are tweezer shapes. So you have the wagtail, great tit, okay, and the robin. And some beaks are curved and they can be of different size. For example, if you look at the sunbird, it has a small curved beak to feed on the flower nectar. Then you have ibisbill in the center, which is longer beak to look under the rocks and the shore of the water. And some beaks could be curved upright, like the avocet. So when you look at the curved beak, you also have to look the size of the beak and which side they have curved. Okay, so let's look at the shape of the head and the neck. So when you look at the bird, quickly look at the head. Does it have anything on top of the head? What we call crest. What shape the crest is? Or does it have no crest at all on the head? Or the crest is in a different shape? This will also help us in identifying some of the birds. And look at the neck. Does it have a longish neck like this? And you can see the attachment of the head to the body with the neck. Or you have like this. This bird, you can hardly see any neck. The head and the body, it looks like it's fused. Or like the egret, which has a very long neck. Okay, now let's look at the leg. So legs are very important, as you know. If they have longer legs, it's very likely they spend a lot of time walking on the ground or on the shoreline of the water. Okay, so some have very long legs, and you have to look for the color, and some have very short legs because these some of the birds which have very little or short legs, they hardly come to the ground. They spend all their life in flying, or they perch on the trees or on the wall. Very rarely they come to the ground, so they have short legs. Some of the birds have different color, and some of the birds have feathers. So you need to look how much of the leg was feathered. Okay, and birds of prey like eagles have lot of feathers on their leg. Let's look at the quickly at the tail. So all birds you might see, you may see the tail, right? But also, was it a long tail, like this bird called drongo, or the tail which was long was split, what we call fork tail? So this family of birds called drongo, many of them in the families usually have a fork tail or a long tail, and some birds have a very short tail, yeah, not long tail at all, and some birds you hardly see, there'll be no tail at all. So with this combination uh, of, here we are not talking about the colors, right? Size of the body, shape of the body, with some of the body parts, okay, size and shape of the beak or a leg, okay, you can start identifying birds, okay, and you need to practice this every day. And look at here, just you can start grouping them. You don't have to identify individual birds, but looking at the shape of the some of the things I said, you can say, oh, these are the ducks, or this looks like a heron or egret, or this looks like woodpecker, or this looks like an eagle. You can start putting them into the groups. Okay, we'll take two examples, and we'll add to this bird what we learned about the size and the shape. Okay, this is an Indian scimitar babbler. Okay, let's look at the size and the shape. This bird is little smaller than the myna, with a long curved beak and a long tail. That's all you need to know now. Okay, not more than that. We're not talking about the colors now. We'll come to that. Cinereous tit. Okay, this is size of a sparrow, which is a short beak and a long tail. So now I would request, if you get time, to go out and practice what you learned Okay, just looking at the birds around you, just see what could be the size of the bird. Oh, what do you think the shape of the bird? Does it have a short beak, long beak, curved beak, very pointed beak? Okay. And look at the tail. Does it have a long tail, short tail? Okay. Or long legs or anything special in the legs? And did it have a long neck or a crest? So slowly start practicing, and you need to practice this regularly. And I will be repeating this very often, because you can't learn about birds at one go, or one day. You need to slowly practice, practice, practice. Okay. I hope you get an idea of this particular session. Okay. We'll go see what's next.